And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, here with you worldwide on Facebook.com, YouTube.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. However you're connected with the show, we appreciate you for being here Monday through Friday. Monthly, every other Tuesday, we bring you Christy's Corner exclusively here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, proudly presented by PB&J's Lunchbox on 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. You can head off and see them all throughout the week, Monday through Saturday. Make sure you get out there to PB&J's Lunchbox Cafe on 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. And, of course, all around central and upstate New York, you could follow that food truck with all of your favorites coming to a location and a community near you. So make sure you follow them on social media so you can check out where they will be next. And, of course, today, shrimp tacos are back. So we know that that's going to be a big time day for me because I always pick my points. I'm like, all right, when am I going to go? It's been a week or it's been a couple weeks, whatever it may be. When am I heading back to PB&J's? Well, today is the day because I don't know. And I ask Pat all the time, I'm like, what's that sweet something you put in the bottom of that shrimp taco? There's something else there. She always tells me she doesn't know and she doesn't think there's anything there, like I made it up. I know that she knows that there's a secret ingredient that she's not telling anybody. So I'm going to go out and get those today. I'm excited about that. But in Christy's Corner, of course, it is named after the International Boxing Hall of Famer and our champion, Christy Salters Martin. So she'll be joining us here this morning with boxing photographer and owner of PB&J's Lunchbox, Pat Orr, and our very special feature guest, Tony Collins, joining us here from East Carolina in NFL history as a running back. He is now has his book out to talk about his life, and we're going to be discussing his journey and his rise through adversity, which I'm very excited about because we all need that positivity in our lives. Then in hour number 2, we'll get to the Jets' wacky Monday Night Football game, as well as the NFL Week 1 and the ingredients to success, proudly presented by Avicolli. So, with all of that being said...
Good morning.
Great morning. Every morning we wake up, we're blessed.
That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Christy, as always, I defer to you first.
Well, you know, we're absolutely blessed to have a very special guest on with us today, Tony Collins, who, as I look back over your career and your life, there are a lot of similarities that we can talk about today on Christy's Corner because we want to always talk about domestic violence, drug abuse, and you know what? I think one of the things is with sports how you can be at the very top, and everybody that's looking in, they think your world is great, you know. And I would say often that it looked like I was on top of the world, but the world was on top of me. And I feel like we have a little bit of that, and even some of our crosses. You're living in North Carolina. I lived in Charlotte for a minute. I lived outside of Orlando for some 20 years. So we have some intersections in our lives, and you know, I think that being an NFL football player is probably the dream of many young boys and men out there as they get older and continue to compete in football. I also feel like, I know especially with the New York Jets at one time, they were very close with the, and the Patriots did this as well, with football players. Like the coaches would have different football players come in and talk with the team. But I think when you're that elite athlete at any sport, you also want to say, hey, could I do this? Could I do that? Did you ever think of, hey, I'm a really great NFL football player, but maybe I want to try boxing, or maybe I want to try basketball, or just something else?
No, it wasn't. It was all football. See, I'm from a family of 16. It was 9 boys and 7 girls. So it was a sports family. We all played sports. The girls played sports, but we ran track. Some of the brothers wrestled. I never got into the wrestling part, but but it was all sports. My father actually played in the Negro League. I was born in Sanford, Florida, so I know about Orlando.
Right.
I still have family in Sanford right to this day, and so born in Sanford, Florida, and we all packed up and moved when I was born to Penn, New York. Now, why Penn, New York? I have no idea. But we went to Penn, New York, which is like 50 miles south of Rochester, on the lake. I mean, very nice town. I mean, I love my town. But when we got to Penn, we were the only black family in the whole entire town, and so it was cool. We never went through the racism things with Penn. My best friend today, third grade, we're still best friends.
Awesome.
I remember going to his house and and getting introduced to I don't know. I guess it was the white culture. I don't know how to put it any other way, but it was just totally different from me. But it was just really cool. They treated me like their sons, and man, it was great growing up in Penn. And so, but yeah, the only thing I wanted to do was play in the NFL.
That's awesome. And I'm gonna guess that you had from home with your brothers and sisters and your mom and dad, you had support growing up, like to keep going, because there had to be those days that you wake up and you're like, oh man, I just don't feel like I don't feel it. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not. You know what? Maybe you were one of those exceptions and never doubted yourself because that was your dream. But I also know that we just have those fears and feelings creep in where, damn, am I really gonna make it? I've put all this hard work in. Am I gonna make it? Did you have some of those minutes?
It's funny you say that. I tell this story all the time and put it in my book about how your words have power. And when I was 10 years old, I went to my mom and I didn't say, Mom, I want to play in the NFL. I said, Mom, I am going to play in the NFL at 10 years old. And now here's the thing that really kind of put me over to the other side. My mom said, son, you can do anything you want to do if you put your mind to it. And from that moment, and I'm gonna tell you, from that moment, I knew I was gonna play in the NFL. I just knew it. And of course, I worked hard. Faith without works is dead, right? So I put the work in, and just never doubted, not one time. I tell kids all the time, you got to see yourself doing these things. You got to visualize yourself doing these things. And so, me and my brothers be out playing in the backyard all the time. They would go inside, and I would stay outside all by myself, pretending to be in the NFL. I heard the crowd roar. I heard the cheerleaders cheer, and I was in the NFL in my mind. What you think about the most will come to you, and that's something that I talk to kids all the time. Thought life is so important. Of course, you got to believe in God, but if you can believe in God and still have a lot of doubt in your heart, it's just not going to happen. And so it's all about your thought life. It's all about the words that you speak out of your mouth. And at the age of 10, I'm going to be totally honest with you, I knew I was going to play in the NFL. See, all my older brothers wanted the same thing. They wanted to play in the NFL. None of them achieved it. And I was fortunate enough to see the mistakes that they made before me. And so I wouldn't make the same mistakes. Because one of my brothers, his name was Morris, he was probably the best athlete out of all of us. He should have played in the NFL, but things happened, got married and he wanted to stay close to home. And so my goal was to go to a Division I school. I had to play at a Division I school. I wasn't going to go to no junior college. I wasn't going to go to no Division II school. I wanted to play at a Division I school, and that was the goal. And see, the thing about it is, we talk about faith, we talk about the works, but you got to have a plan. And I had a plan. I would write my plan down, and I would look at my plan every single day. This is at 10 years old. I was a bit of a fanatic. I really was.
Well,
I
to
don't know if
achieve
you
those
guys
goals,
ever.
you have to be. To
Yeah,
achieve that goal that you had set for
yeah.
yourself, you have to just know that this is my life and I'm going to live this every day. And that's what young athletes don't understand. Young people don't understand about
Hmm.
setting goals and attaining those goals today. So, and I
Yeah,
know that's one of the things that you're doing is like to talk to these young in their mind and
yeah.
how are you making that happen?
Writing your goals down and looking at your goals every since I didn't feel like doing that. But you look at that goal, and so you know you got to work out today. You got to be. And one of the things that my father told me, and he really told me a lot of great nuggets. But one of the things he said, if you want to be the best at what you do, you can't do what everybody else is doing. And so I didn't do what everybody else did. I was the first one on the field. I was the last one off the field. I was the first one in the weight room. I was the last one out of the weight room because I knew if I did the extra, it was going to take me over. I was a pretty decent athlete anyway. So, but I just worked. I want to work harder than anybody else, and so yeah, hard work pays off. And you talk to these kids all the time and tell them about how hard they need to work to get to where they want to go, and it's a total key. And I it keeps coming back to me. You can have all the faith in the world. You can say all the great things that you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you said so much there, Tony, and I can appreciate it because, like you said, you got to have faith in God, which I think a lot of people forget about, right? We live in a society now where, their God is artificial intelligence, their God is Google, their God is Apple, their God is, their video games or whatever they're, quote unquote, worshiping or following the most. With God, with faith, I tell people this all the time. So, like, how do you believe in God when I asked for something I didn't get it? And there's a story that somebody told me a long time ago, and it was a story about a woman who went to a church. I forgot who told me this story, but I think about it all the time. Woman went into a church, very devout, very devout person, been a Christian all her life. She goes to pray because her family needs money. She goes right down the aisle, right up to the altar, kneels on the altar, says, God, I've always been with you. I've always been for you. I practice my faith. I bring my family to church. Can you please help us with some money? Nothing happens. She comes back. She sits in the third pew. She says, God, same thing. I've always been with you. I've always been for you. My family needs some help. I bring them to church. Can you give me some money? Nothing happens. She comes back. She's in the middle of the church. She says the same thing. Nothing happens. She comes to the back of the church. She prays again. She's getting a little bit flustered, a little bit upset. She doesn't understand why God's not helping her. She's always been there for him. And then the last time she comes back, she doesn't kneel. She stands in the doorway. She puts her fist to the air. She yells at God, I've been with you. I've been for you. I brought my family here. Why haven't you helped me? Why haven't you done anything for me? I've always been by your side. I asked for one thing. And she heard a loud booming voice in the church say, you got to buy a ticket first if you want to win the lottery. So that to me, there are so many people, and I'm going to liken this to the NFL since you played there, and I know you could totally understand this point more than most. You go to a stadium, let's say there's 70,000 seats. In a 70,000 seat stadium that's full, you got 70,000 fans. How many players are on the field at any given time? 22. That's how I liken life to what it is. 70,022 people all say they're good at this, they're good at that, they can do this, they could do that. But most of the 70,000 plus in that stadium, they say everything they can do, but they sit in a seat and they watch.